fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Negative thoughts versus positive thoughts. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again, Salt Strong Unchurched. This is going to be an incredibly powerful one that has literally changed my life. I have a really cool story that something happened to me recently where I was using negative thoughts and literally sabotaging myself, and then how I fixed it. And I want to start this podcast off with a really powerful quote. If you tell yourself you are barely hanging on, you will live exhausted. If you tell yourself you are trapped, you will feel hopeless and you'll be full of anxiety. If you tell yourself it's always you who gets the short end, you'll always feel resentful. If you tell yourself there's nothing to look forward to, you'll live without hope. And if you tell yourself you have no purpose, you will never find a meaningful existence. If you say things are too hard to try, you'll never get stronger. Instead, be awesome, be bold, be hopeful, be brave, believe you can, fall down 9 times and get up 10. You are the upgrade. You are the upgrade. 1 billion generations survived and reproduced to bring you forth from stardust. You are amazing. You are a miracle. Jeremy Murray. Powerful quote there. And I recently realized kind of what I did. And so less than a year ago, we bought a new house. You know, we've been renting for many years as we were growing Salt Strong and just slowly kind of saving a little bit of money. And we always had this dream about, you know, getting a nice house on the lake. I grew up here in Winter Haven, Florida, and just always dreamed about having a house on the lake. And it finally got the opportunity. There was an older house, beautiful big piece of property, and it was way more than we were budgeting for. It was like way past the top peak of what we even thought we were going to do. And it was one of those homes where we had to take a little bit of a risk and say, all right, this is something that we'll grow into, which I think is good advice in general. You know, if you're at the age where you should have increasing incomes, et cetera, and have a family that's either expanding or getting, younger and young kids and getting older. And so that's what we did. And I'll be honest with you, I felt guilty. It always bugged me to see people that were just super, super flashy and the opposite of modest, right? And you've been around those people before where they have something nice, whether it be their new car, their house, whatever, and it's they're just beating their chest about it. And so I did the opposite, which I don't think is smart either. And I kind of downplayed it. I almost felt guilty. And so we had, people would come over and see the house and they would congratulate us. And I almost felt just guilty just because it was like too much, even though it's not a big house, it's just a massive property. And obviously it was expensive, and I was just downplaying it and beating myself over. And I was like, oh yeah, but so I'll give you an example. Someone would say, oh man, this is so beautiful. Like, you must love it. I was like, oh yeah, but it's falling apart. It's 50 something years old and nothing's been fixed that long. And what do you know? Things literally kept breaking. Like the day we moved in, my wife and I both had that attitude. She got better. She was a little bit smarter than me, or a lot smarter than me, and got kind of fixed her attitude quicker than I did. But I said it over and over again. And it was wild how many things started breaking up. Someone mentioned the pool. Oh yeah, but it hasn't been updated in forever. It's kind of falling apart. And literally within like 24 hours, the pool pump completely dies, like burns out, adios, dunzo. Everything you could possibly imagine, both AC units out, a back door, toilet, everything you could imagine kept breaking because we were like talking about it. It was almost like the universe, God was listening to us. And we were just sabotaging ourselves. And it got really bad at 4th of July. We had a party. It was our first real party. We had a lot of people. I guess 35, 40 people over at our house. And I felt guilty, and I'm trying to downplay. And I'm like, oh yeah, but there's all these things that need to be fixed. And, things are just falling apart like crazy. That next morning, so, we watched the fireworks and, everyone goes home that night. The next morning, I wake up. And if you were in Florida, you might remember this past 4th of July, there was a lot of rain. We had that little hurricane came through and went through Central Florida. And after we've spent who knows how much money, a lot more than we had budgeted, let's just say $60,000 with the AC units and everything else you can imagine going wrong. We look over on the floor and there's a big puddle of water. And then I also noticed little bits and pieces of drywall on the ground. And I knew as soon as I saw it, I knew it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And here I was the entire day prior, literally poo-pooing on my property because I felt guilty. And I had just an absolute negative attitude. And if you're wondering what it was, yes, it was a roof leak. And that was the first time we saw it had been exposed. Even though it was supposed to be a newer roof, there was a part that wasn't. Next thing you know, that's $15,000. And my wife finally said, Joe, maybe you should start just being positive about it and just saying, you know what, we are blessed. This is our dream home. Instead of saying, yeah, it's 50 years old and it's falling apart, just to kind of downplay it because I felt guilty. And no lie, as soon as I changed my attitude, as soon as I changed my mindset from this negative poo-poo and feeling guilty and just said, yeah, you know what? It is amazing. And we are so blessed to be here and our kids are loving it. Everything stopped. Like nothing's broken since. I'm talking like since July. I mean, I'm talking every single week something broke. The irrigation. I mean, literally everything you could possibly imagine. The dock. Yeah, we're on the lake. The dock literally collapsed. I mean, everything you could possibly imagine was breaking in this house and falling apart almost to the point where like we got a lemon. And as soon as I changed my attitude, and as soon as, someone would now say, oh, what an amazing home. You guys are, oh, this is so lucky. And I'd say, yeah, we are, in a humble way, not boisterous and beating my chest, but in a humble way, I say, yeah, we are. We're so fortunate. And this is our dream home. I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was spooky. And maybe it was just because nothing else could break. But you know where I'm going with this. There's so many times in our lives where we're self-sabotaging ourselves, just like I did with this home. And I've seen it over and over again. And we've all seen it. There's been people in our lives who always seem to have negative things going on. And ironically, they're usually the ones who are always talking negative about themselves. Oh, I can never catch a break. And oh gosh, man, times are tough. I don't feel like I'm ever going to get out of this rut. Well, I mean, guess what happens when you start saying that kind of stuff to yourself and about yourself? It usually starts coming true in some form or fashion. It is unexplainable. It is wild how that happens. But there have been so many books, and I've referenced quite a few of them in my book, Fishing for Happiness, talking about the power of the mind. And really, if you want to talk about it in the godly perspective, which is part of this Unchurched, it's the same reason that the power of prayer is so powerful, right? I mean, it's the God, it's this universe listening to us. And if we start putting out great vibes and great feelings and positive emotions, we're going to get a lot of that back. And it's the same with giving and tithing and being generous. It's usually when you're generous that generosity and good things start happening to you. It's when we buckle down and we're just so tight with our money and we're negative and poo-pooing on ourselves. That's usually when that just cycle of negative things continue to happen. That's why people feel like they're in a rut. And the only way to get out of that rut is to change your attitude. The power of positive attitude and positive thinking and positive thoughts is so critical. And that's why I wanted to kick it off with that with that quote. Ironically, I was this was on kind of scheduled for me to do this Sunday, this podcast that you're listening to. And I got that quote just kind of out of the blue. I think it was someone on Facebook posted, and it hit me. I was like, wow, that's literally what I'm about to talk about here today. So I thought that was just so true. And it's been proven time and time again. So if you're in a rut, or if one of your loved ones is, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's your parents, someone who's dealing with a tough time, I mean, you got to convince them and give them every reason to change that attitude. That is step number one about attracting some really great things into your life. I'm telling you, if I could, and I probably should have just documented every single thing that went wrong and all the comments that I was saying to make it happen. It is absolutely spooky how everything literally changed when I just changed my attitude. I believe it, and that's one of many examples in my life where this has become true. And any time you're in a rut, whether it be business or relationship, et cetera, just change that attitude. Start finding the gold nuggets. Start finding the great things that are there. There's always something good. And my brother Daniel is really good about this. I've talked about Daniel before. He's in a wheelchair. He's born with CP, cerebral palsy, and he can't walk or talk. And yet, he could easily find many things to be mad about, right? He has plenty of excuses, if you will, to be mad at God or be mad at the world or mad at whoever, right? I mean, can you imagine going through your entire life never being able to walk or talk and being reliant on someone for everything? He's never got to do any of the things that we have in terms of riding a bike or driving a car or going out on dates. The things that so many of us, take for granted, and yet he somehow finds the good things in life. He somehow finds those little positive things. And if anyone who meets him, we had a lot of people that met him at the event. He is the happiest person around. He has nothing but positive vibes. He has one of the best attitudes, if not the best I've ever seen. And once again, has every excuse not to have it. Because you could always say, oh yeah, well, so-and-so, of course they're happy. Look at all this stuff they have and look how great their life is. Well, there's plenty of people that don't have all that stuff and they're just as happy and many times more fulfilled. It's not about the stuff you have in life that makes you happy. It is the attitude and the people around you and the love that you're giving and the love that you're giving back. So I just want to do this quick podcast because it hit me how powerful the power of thinking and positive attitude is versus that negative attitude. It could literally drain you. It could literally sabotage all of your big plans if you don't have that right attitude. And I'm saying this about myself right now because we all need this. We all need this pickup every now and then. And I feel like even in the winter times, a lot of us, kind of get down and sometimes it's gloomy and cold and we're inside and we want to be outside doing fun things. And it can be easy to go down that path of kind of being negative and poo-poo and looking at the cloudy and the cold side of life. But I'm telling you, I'm urging you to look on the positive, find something that's amazing. There's always something, even if it's just one thing, and focus on that. You will be shocked at how many great things come into your life and how God starts working in your life when you can appreciate even the small things that he's doing for you right now. Guys, hope you found this helpful. I will be chatting with you on the next episode. Got some cool stuff coming up. I'm continuing to finish up that book on Christianity for people who aren't Christians. Really, really powerful. That is one that I'm certainly going to reread again, and also have a couple other pretty cool ideas that I'm going to be sharing here on Unchurched. So I appreciate you guys big time. I'm really loving all the feedback I get from everyone. If you'd like to email me, I'd love to hear from you. Joe, Joe, at saltstrong.com. Check every one of the messages. Try to get back with everyone. I really, really do love hearing feedback. And if there's any certain topics that you want to discuss or any special guest as well, that's something I want to start bringing back again, is some guests, some guests periodically on this podcast. So let me know. I'd love to hear from you, Joe at saltstrong.com. Otherwise, I'll talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was pain.